And for plot 6, we have AIM Design, AIM Design.
It's a bit of a split house in two sections of honest industry. You have a more conventional construction on the lower finished floor areas where it's a kind of natural render finish. On the upper level, we've kind of stuck with a more industrial type, or something you would normally see in a more commercially based building. So we have a split type of composition going on with a simple white base to it, and then a timber box effectively floating up above that. The lower floor is a highly thermally insulated solid wall construction with a white render finish to it, quite simply. And the upper level is a very kind of thermally efficient envelope again, but then it's got a clad system which is Trespa in a walnut finish. The house is orientated around south effectively, so spaces you're seeing here are the bedroom spaces that face out onto the courtyard area, which was always assumed to be the quieter area anyway for the bedroom spaces to face onto. And then the majority of the house spaces face out towards the south, towards the garden area. So the whole thing's orientated in open plan configuration to allow comfort and to encourage, I suppose, family value, socialist, kind of social interaction within the house itself. And that's what it's all about, really. So there is spaces you can come out in the morning from the bedroom area and look down towards, you know, the estuary as well, because we've got quite a cracking view down there. And then the spaces towards the back, again, are proposed and encouraged to spill out into the garden areas and become a kind of garden stroke interior kind of lifestyle, if you like, mixed together. As a practice, we've quite a kind of minimal approach to what we do, but we don't like being completely cold and minimal. So a lot of different influences, from the sculpture of Donald Judd to the kind of compositions you see in a Mondrian painting to kind of minimalist work that we've kind of practiced and worked with over the last 10 to 15 years, and that's manifested itself in what we've got today. We don't like to colour buildings up too much with style. We want them to remain, I suppose, quite honest to what we're actually doing, the technology we're using and the spaces that the building wraps around. So it's a very kind of minimal composition, very abstract, I suppose, compared to some of the other houses around here. But we like quite a strong expression. We think it's something of its age today. The interiors, as I've kind of touched on earlier, we've always liked open plan. We specialise quite a lot in interiors, commercial and private interiors in our office, and we don't like boundaries between spaces. So again, we've tried to have that encouraged within the interior spaces of the house, with the kitchen area, living area. In fact, even the upper levels where you've got an open void spilling down into the living space and looking right out onto the garden, everything's connected together to try and encourage interaction, encourage the kind of social values of even living and working in the kitchen area, if you like, which I think families nowadays are doing more and more often. So it's that sort of idea. Everything's open plan, everything's glazed, so it's as light and as airy as possible, and everything's extremely simple. It's a white finish internally. There's really not an awful lot else. There's a timber floor finish, and the kitchen's light and airy. So we've not really went over the top with any kind of adornments that might be seemed as being a bit, I suppose, giving a bit too much richness to the interior. It's quite simple. We've got underfloor heating primarily. It's a gas boiler heated system. We've got underfloor heating, but primarily we've got an air-to-air heat recovery system as well that works with the energy, the heat energy that we're actually managing to establish within the building, and regenerating that and recycling that throughout the building. So our heating bills are very low for the year, but it's also based on a passive house construction, and it's an airtight construction. So it's as thermally efficient as we can possibly make it. But that combined with the air-to-air heat recovery system, we're hoping that we get quite a decent return and a low energy consumption value through the year. Earlier on in this programme, this whole project, that was the thought that we might even build these ourselves, and we had got to that point where we'd create a marketing document and sent it to an estate agent in Inverness. And to be quite honest, I see this building as being someone who's in the creative industries. Could be a graphic designer, could be an artist. There's a workshop at the back. If I had my business up here with quite a small practice, I'd probably consider it because it's a bit expressive, it's got a workshop, it's very flexible, but it has to be someone, I think, with an avant-garde approach to life and a bit of bravado and a bit of backbone as well. I think there were aspirations that these houses would be, they're certainly environmentally conscious, they're certainly energy efficient, but you pay a premium for that type of build, particularly at the moment. I don't think you should. And I think as these types of industries become more commonplace and more generic, I think that will come down. And indeed, as policies that have been pushed by the government become pushed to the forefront and become almost, compulsory policies to take in and adopt with a building, that's going to become commonplace. So what we're seeing now in and around this whole area, including our house, is really a benchmark of where we are in house building technology at this particular moment. And I think it might be commonplace in 5 to 10 years' time. This house is, one of the things that's unusual about it is a timber effect finish, and if you're a purist and you're into natural products, it could have been done in Scottish larch. But I suppose we were concerned about the maintenance and who was buying it and whether or not they bought into maintaining it, whether they wanted it to just breathe naturally and just, weather naturally. But we thought, well, let's put up a panel that has no maintenance. And it'd be interesting to come back here in 5 years' time and just see what timber of cladding has weathered well, what's been maintained well, how this actually looks in a weathered environment in 5 years' time. Does it look out of place? Does it look, manufactured? Does it, or will people buy into that sort of approach? Certainly, it's a fairly standard approach when it comes to commercial buildings. Why shouldn't it be with housing? Because then you're removing the maintenance issue and longevity of that house.